here and mute that till I turn off. Stream 1 is active. Stream 2, stream 3. Okay. I don't need this to be right here. We'll move this. Oh, come on. Here we are. Move keyboard out of the way. Let's grab the pencil off of here. We should be fully charged. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's check everything. That looks good. How are we looking on this? Oh, move your phone. Dope. There we go. Put the phone over there. All right. Live chat is up. Good. And the other one is... there we go. Okay. There it is. Let me get Let's View connected in the back side here. Oh, what did I do? Oh, ABC. ABC. Dun, dun, dun. 1, 2, 3. Nobody's gonna want to hear me sing. There we are. Start broadcast. Yep. Looks like, okay, are both of them live? That one is. I don't see that one though. Oh wait, I think it's behind the window. Let's do a check. Okay, I'm going to need, well, I'm going to open this because I can reuse this. Okay, let me make sure Let's View is connected. There it is. And then we need to connect Social Stream. So we need to see if both the sources are live. That one is. Activate. Oh, I'm going to switch to the right output. There we are. Move the window, change to live chat, move to here. Oh, right, I forgot. Almost forgot. Bang. Bam. 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 Boom. 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 Wait, did I actually hit enter? I did, okay. Boom. This is the one I have to hit it twice. That's it, okay. I guess I should put it in my own... oh boy, I gotta fix that. Okay, close that. Right, I did the post there. This is posted. Yes. This is, okay, did I do the other one? Second source. Source 2 is live. Hit activate. Move the window down to tile that one. Switch to live chat. Switch to participants. Good. Which means I don't need this window anymore. So, gone. And I don't need this window anymore. Oh, well, I should have tested it first. Well, I'm only going to do 2 tests today because I accidentally closed the other window. So we'll just say, we'll go here and we'll say T. But I mean, if one, oh, I have to hit the button first. Hold on, sorry. Hit the button. There's noise. Now I come here and I select the dashboard and hit OK. Make it visible. And we'll say TEST2. There we go. And it's there. And if one works, I'm just going to go ahead and assume the other one works. And we'll say test 3, even though technically it's test 2. Oh, God, really? Hold on. This is so stupid. I have to re-sign into Twitch for some reason, even though it's... boy, I tell you. There's always some stupid thing that's got to annoy you, right? Always got to be something. And I'm going to enter the, what do you call it? There's MFA. Okay. Where's my phone? Because I need my MFA thing. Hold on. Okay. Whoop. Jeez, missing the key on my phone. There we go. Okay. And so, for this is, I gotta probably do 2 of them actually. Okay. Okay. And the code is, there it is. It is, okay, I was going to say it's about to change, but it's not. I can tell from the timer. All right, that's the first one. Now I have to literally copy and probably do MFA again because, you know, of course, go back to here, paste, whoops, paste, okay, valid, fine, use phone number. Wait, what? I don't, oh, you know what? I know what it is. I think it's this. Actually, no, I guess it's not. It's probably, Here's probably my art email. I don't remember. I have no idea what my Twitch email is. Username? No, I already have an account. Dopes. That's why it was doing that. I knew there was a reason it was doing that incorrectly. That's why. I was gonna say this should just know who I am. I was on the wrong thing. All right, log in. Now I need the stupid authenticator for Twitch this time. Hold on. And that would be down here, and that would be this. Whoops, I hit it twice. No, I didn't. Good. Oop, definitely did that wrong. There. Okay, thank you. Test 3. Ah, finally. All that time just to be able to hit test 3. Anyway, where's the... There they are. All right, drop that down. Well, that's weird. Why are there 2 of them? Why are there 2 of them? Oh, you know what? I don't think there is not actually. What is that? Is that showing up with 2 things for you too? No. Okay, it was something temporary. Okay, it was because I popped the window up and down. All right, whatever. Let's do this. Let's do this. This. Okay. Good grief, man. Off to a very, very good start. All right. Come on. Okay, well, that worked. This may look familiar, and that's because this is a canvas I used before for a illustration, or for a painting of a tree. I'm reusing it because I don't need this. Okay, why is that highlighted on my screen? Can I get that to not highlight, maybe? You know what? It doesn't matter. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and erase all this. Basically, I did a what do you call it? Autumn version of that. But this is a perfectly good canvas. I actually had a request for a, what was it? I think it's a castle in Dark Souls called Ano Lando or Anor Londo. Jeez. I've never played Dark Souls, any of those games. They're not for me. But here it is. So the picture that was linked to me was a castle with the name Anor Londo. I kept thinking it was what do you call it? I thought it was Anderlando. I kept remembering Anderlando. And it's a keep of some kind, or some kind of castle that is kind of, I don't know, let's see, what is the location information? The Batwing, Anor Londo is an area in Dark Souls and Dark Souls Remastered with its perpetually setting sun and gorgeous architecture. The city of Anor Londo will take your breath away upon your first sight of it, but don't be fooled by its apparent tranquility. Reachable via a small orange ring that appears after defeating the Iron Golem on top of Sen's fortress. It's the home of Lordran's remaining deities and the Lord Vessel, an essential artifact for completing the main quest. Okay. Well, it's a neat looking place from the inside anyway. And, I mean, the outside too. I shouldn't say it like it's only the inside. So, I guess this is a well-known location. Whoa. Wow. There is a... there is a character in a statue of a character in the game. No, I guess it would be Lady? No, Princess Guinevere. That's a striking figure. Okay. All right. Anyway, what we're focusing on here is the castle. So I was asked to do something because of the light in, I think, the autumn image. Somebody said, "Oh, do you take requests?" and then linked this image. And I said, "Oh, sure, I'd be willing to try that." And it is a very neat looking place. So I originally was thinking I was going to do this vertically, like you see here, but I think maybe this is a place better done in horizontal. Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's plan this out. So let's turn the iPad sideways. I might probably have to adjust my Let's View, so hold on a minute. Because that probably... Oh, no, okay, it just moved it. That's, let me just move this over a bit. Let me just say center. Can I center, it would be Transform center horizontally. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that works. So again, this is a scaled down version of a 24 by 36 canvas. Not reference. Let me turn on the drawing guide of the 2D grid. Let's make it a dark grid so that I can see it. Actually, I really don't need the grid right now. Actually, first, what I need is symmetry. Oh, I forgot. Hold on. Because it's actually technically a horizontal or a vertical, I have to change it to be 18 by 12. Wait. Why did it? Hold on a minute. But let me reset. Yeah. Oh, no. I did it wrong. My mistake. Go back. There we go. Go here. Do a reset. Why does it not do symmetry? Because originally it was created as a horizontal. Okay. Fine. You know what? Hey. I'm flexible. Delete. Delete. Create new. Let's do a new... where's the custom? Here we go. So we want it to be inches, and instead it's going to be 18 wide by 12 tall. Done. Go. Right now, if I do the symmetrical thing, hopefully, yes, now it's correct. See, now it's the right way. Okay, so now we have our symmetrical thing because I'm going to center the castle. So looking at this picture, I'm going to do about a, I'm going to do like a 50-50. So actually, let's go back to the other. Let's go to the grid. Okay, let's do a assist. Let's get our non-repro blue. Grab a sketch for a pen. And we're going to do this at about a, maybe I should do a little, I'm going to do it less than halfway because I'm looking at the castle and I want to have it be more sky than castle. So we're going to say 3/4. So why is the squares are not like they should be? Did I resize these? I must have. Hold on, I gotta figure this out. 190. Done. No, that's not right. Because this is, it's gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so it's gotta be a little bit bigger than that. So let's say 195 maybe. Nope. 196, 197, 198, 199, 200. Oh, no, not 1200, 200. Yeah, this doesn't look quite right though. These should be equally spaced. Weird. Hold on, how many are we now? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. But it should be equidistant because this is, hold on. Grid size. Can I do inches? Oh, I can. Yes, I could do inches. Okay. So length would be 18. Oh no, sorry. 1. Okay. Well, wait. No, 1 half. It would have to be half because it's a double scale. Sorry. Okay, so it would actually be 0.5. Yes! There we go. That should be right. Yep, see, they're equal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Except I'm a moron. It can be 1 because I'll just double the size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, that's it. Okay. Wow. Oh, man. What are we? How far are we in on just me trying to make a grid work? Yeah, 15 minutes. No kidding. Okay, anyway. So, again, we would have to double the sizes, but... actually, if I did 0.5, I wouldn't have to double the sizes. I can make it 1-to-1. So I should do 0.5. That's actually more accurate, even within the scale, because now it should be 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay, clear. Now, so if I want to do 3/4, 24 divided by 4 is 6. So I'd want to do 6 inches up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's maybe a little too much. So let's go 8 inches. 8 inches, I think, would be good. As far, oh, maybe 9. Let's go 9. Yeah, let's do 9. I like 9. So where am I here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9, this is our, okay, well, if I can draw it correctly, this is our horizon line. So let me turn the assist off for just a minute, and I can erase that stuff just so this is gone. I want to get this out of here. Okay, so basically now what we have is this area is going to be the sky, sun, sky, the whole thing. And then down here is going to be our tree areas and the castle itself. On Orlando is going to go down here. Okay? So now we switch to, oh, actually I should do one more to get my center point. Assist on, and my center point going by 18, or 36 really, would be 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 8. Wait, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's center right there. There's our center point. So now we have our center, because the castle is going to be built around that center point. Right. Now, new layer, no assist, but we're going to switch over. Well, we are going to assist. Sorry. What I meant was no grid, but we're going to... Oh, you know what? I forgot about that. That's a really good idea. Instead of relying on me... hold on. Turn the assist off, please. Did I draw something there and not realize it? I must have, because it's picking something up. Okay, there it is. This can actually center this for me. So, I'll do this. That's the center. See, I knew I had it wrong. That is centered, so that means there should be 18 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, see, I had that completely... I thought I had to split the square, and in fact, no, it's 18 on each side of the line. I was thinking I had an odd number when 18 is even. Again, basic math, gang. Can't do it. All right, let's switch to our other symmetrical guide. We'll dead center that. This should be... Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. So, let me look at this castle. And it's a relatively easy, simple castle in terms of its architecture. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 4 spires, or buttresses, or whatever you're supposed to call those, on each side, and then a center spire that goes up. Is there a better picture of the... Ooh, that's a nice picture from... Okay. All right. Yeah, interesting. There's a lot of... I mean, I don't think I can... Well... I was going to say, I don't think I can do the detail of the actual castle, but I think I can't do the detail with the oil brushes. I can probably manage it. Looking at this picture. Yeah. I can probably manage it if I use the acrylic brushes after the fact. So I think what I'm going to try to capture at first is just the silhouette, and the sun is going to be pretty low. Okay, so, wow, this is interesting. So let's go ahead and start here. Oh, I got a little piece of something here. Okay, so basically, let's start by building our center spire, which, if I'm looking at the horizon line, let's do this first. Before I do the assist, there's going to be a mountain. There's mountains behind this thing with some trees. So we'll do some mountains, and, you know, we'll have some mountainside, and this is going to kind of silhouette too, right? So there's our mountain range in the background. That does not need to be symmetrical, right? And then we're going to go into the actual castle. Whoops, drawing assist, please. Thank you. So, based on where I've got the mountains, and based on the reference image, the center spire kind of comes up, and it's sort of a thing like that. Is it too... No, maybe a little too far up. Hold on. All right. Let me move that down a bit. Yeah. Because I want to kind of get this... I like this image, so I'm trying to kind of replicate the image. Then there are these smaller spires that come up. this. And then there is a more triangular spire here. And then there is a more triangular spire here. And there is a, what did I say, 4? There's one more triangular spire down here. Right. And then there are these connecting sort of rings. I would almost call them like this. That come up. That connect to the main thing. And then there is a kind of offshoot here that then connects like this. And that would come to here. And this is not exactly how it's going to look because this is all going to be silhouetted anyway. So I'm just trying to get the general shapes of this thing correct. Hold on, because you know what? That gap is right. Oh, there is no connector between those. Okay, got it. Yeah, so then there's just kind of a, like a little pathway here that then comes up to this, that comes up to that, right? And then this kind of comes down a bit like that. And then there's like another little spire here. And then some kind of tower thing. And then there seems to be something here, and that connects there. And then this kind of does this. And then we'll just shoot that down into infinity pretty much, like that. Because then there's other stuff there. Weirdly, it's asymmetrical after that, which, ooh, boy, does that bother me. I do not like asymmetrical architecture. I really don't. There's like a weird one-off building there. That's so odd. Why would there be a one-off building right there? Bizarre. Yeah, and then kind of ringing the outside. There's these circles, kind of like this. And then like this. And then... And those are symmetrical. That's the weird part, is there are symmetrical bits of this thing. But then there's non-symmetrical parts. That's strange. Very strange. I'm trying to see if there's a better overhead image of what those rings look like when they come off of that, because I can't quite see the outside of the... Oh, okay. They kind of go into a square. All right. I got it. So it's somewhat like... here, let me put one under here. It's kind of like this. Kind of shoots through. And then, well, hold on. How would that... Oh, no, it wouldn't be that. It's coming backwards. So, yeah, this is something else I'm not really great at, is perspective. Without, a lot of help. But it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, just like that. That comes there. Oh, no, that doesn't look right. Hold on. That doesn't look right for what the picture's got. Oh, I see. It intersects. You know what I think? Huh. Trying to draw this freehand is going to be... Why? Oh, because the rings they're wider. Well, you know what? Hold on. Let's just see. This does not have to be exact. I mean, this is a painting. This is a painting, and I'm not trying to do like a still life. So we'll just do this. This is not, I'm not trying to completely... I'm not going to be able to completely represent this thing properly anyway. So rather than struggle with it and waste all my time on it, I'm just going to do an approximation of it and not worry about it too much, because I don't even know if you're going to see this in the painting. Do I even want to have this part of the castle in the painting? No, you know what? Hold on, thinking. I think I saw images where there's mist on the lower part of the castle. I may just go with mist down here. So this won't matter so much. I mean, you know what? I'll draw it out a little bit. It's fine. Let's shoot this out a bit. Just a bit. That would come down here. And then shoot off. See what I mean about I'm not great with perspective? Yeah, I'm just going to sand these things off because I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay. So just that for the shapes. And then there's kind of a little house that comes off it. Like this. And this. I mean, this will all have to be done with the pen. There's no way I could get anywhere near doing something like this without utilizing the pens. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, it would never happen. It would never happen. That shoots down, and then that. Why does that look wrong? That looks really weird. Why does it look so weird? Oh, I know why. Because it's not sharp enough. Hold on. So what I should have done was this, and then had that guide where this is going to be, because it's more like that. So this would come further in. Actually, hold on. This should be further down. Then this comes over. Then this shoots up. And then from here, there's like a little ledge, and it comes up. And then this comes down. And then this comes down here, here. And there's this thing here. It still looks weird. But you know what? Now that I'm looking at the actual image, it looks weird there too. See, this is why I'm kind of inclined not to have this architecture on the bottom. Yeah, you know what? I'm not doing any of this. So hold on. Is this its own layer? Yeah, gone. I'm not doing this. Because it's just not going to look right. And I'm not trying for realism. So let's do this. Let's get rid of this. And instead, what we're going to have going here is instead of that, we're going to put some trees. We'll just have some forest and trees. And those will kind of overshadow the actual fortress itself. So we'll have some trees there. We'll have some trees here. So I'm just kind of shaping out trees, basic trees. And that makes more sense if I want to have mist anyway, which I do. I want to have this misted out. So, okay, so there's the core. The core castle is still there. So let's just see. As far as that goes, boy, there's such weird shapes in here. Which is probably the intent. But there's like a thing that comes out here, and then that joins in like that. And, you know, the other problem with something like this is the people who are really familiar with the game, no, you got it completely wrong. I agree, because I don't play the game. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to get this right, because I've never seen the location, and I'm going on... I mean, there's so many different pictures of this thing, and a lot of them look like they're artist renderings, so they're really different. So I'm just trying to approximate what this thing looks like, but it is not going to be correct. Just understand, it's not going to be exactly the way the game shows it. I'll just tell you that now. So if you love this game, I apologize if I'm butchering a location that in the game is some kind of really important area, which it probably is. It's a cool looking castle. But I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to get it right. So just understand that and accept it. And if that's just going to make you not want to even look at this, then I understand. You know, look at it. Okay, so that's like, there's like a thing that leads up to there. See, and that's a good place for mist too. So I think a lot of this I just want to have in shadow anyway. That'll avoid some of these problems, is if I just shadow it out, and then it's not going to be a problem as far as getting it right. Is that like a thing that comes out? I guess it does. Yeah, it looks like it does. So do something like that. And then, yeah, so I mean like this, I'll flatten this. It won't look like that. This will be darkened in. Right. And then the sun, let's do a new layer. The sun is going to be kind of in here. This is where the sun is going to... Actually, no, I should make it higher up. Okay. Let's put the sun is going to be kind of here. So this is the sun. Just so I know what I'm doing. And then I'm going to do this technique I did on another painting where... boy, the tricky bit about this is I'm almost going to have to do this half black, half white. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one. Right? I would have to. This would have to almost be... This would have to almost be... Yeah, I think this is going to be half black, half white. I think. How did I do? Hold on, I'm thinking. Yeah, because you have to use white to make the in-betweens of the clouds. Wow, that's fascinating. How am I going to do that? Because this is the sun, so the sun's going to radiate light all over this, right? So I'm going to make that part I know how to do. That's going to be really the last part. But all these clouds are going to radiate out, kind of like my other castle, like the dark crystal one. So those are going to, so if I'm going to radiate those out, hold on, let me come back here and let me just, you know, so we'll put like a window there. Why is that off center? This should not be off center. It's almost like this thing is wrong. But that's saying that's center. And yet, this is saying, oh, that's fine. Okay, so that is center. All right, that's okay. So this, yeah. So this is like, okay, so then we have to have like something like that. Looks like there's like little blades coming off of there or something. I can't really tell what it is. And then we'll do something else here. And you know what? I really don't have to worry if I'm not recreating this one-to-one. It can be reminiscent of without actually being the same thing, and that's fine too. Right, and then there's just these spires that are kind of all over the place. Have that come down. And again, this doesn't have to even be straight or correct because it's all made up to begin with. Right. See, in a lot of this, I don't even want to make this too clear. I just want to have this be like this misty thing that exists. So then there's like, this is a spire, comes down, spire comes down. There's like this is, let's say that's coming to here. And that comes to there, and then that comes up. I could just make this up. This does not have to look like the image at all, really. Spire, another level. This comes up and forms into there. I do kind of like there's like a rib thing happening down here though. It's like this. This is nice. Do that. Something like that. Well, not that one. That's fine just there. So that comes down. That's a pathway. Right, and then that would come up and go in there, there. I have no idea how I'm going to do all this castle stuff down here. I think this is all going to basically be in silhouette. It probably will, because that's just going to make it easier for me. And then I can just do, this will just be different layers of trees with like slightly different coloring. And that would come up into here where there's again more trees. Right. Yep. I think that looks better. And then if I do a lot of the tree stuff going into the mountains, but not covering them up, I still want the mountains to be there. If I do the trees, then I can come in here with the where am I? Where's oil? Oil. If I now come in here with not gesso, would not be gesso. Wet fuzzy brush. Let's try that. Then in here I could, jeez, that's a weird brush. That is a really weird brush. What is that? Okay, yeah, no, that's not the brush I'm going for. Let's go back up to the top. I don't know what that's all about. Soft dry oil. Let's try that. Okay, obviously I have to make this a lot bigger, and I have to pull the opacity way down. Wow, really? Still that much? Yeah, okay. So I want to have a lot of mist flowing through here, where a lot of this would be misted out. You know, and then even in the tree lines, so there'd be mist coming through here, and it would come up and obscure a lot of this, and we'd have mist over here. Right. And then I can just do the pens with that. And then up here, that's where there would be the sun rays coming out. At least that's... So the symmetry would be the actual castle. But then the sun would be asymmetrical. That's how you would get away from that. So if I go back to sketching, and I go back to like this, something like that, and have this come, or not like that, it's not straight. Not that it matters, but still, I don't want it to be completely weird looking. And then, you know, just kind of like weird angle stuff like this. This really doesn't matter if you can see it. So a lot of this doesn't really matter if you can see it, but still, kind of like the idea of this weird architecture happening. You know, and then like this would have this would come down, angle it a bit. We could do more of these arches. That would look interesting. You know, something like this. Oh, that kind of gives it a skull look unintentionally. Wasn't really aiming for that, but I'll take it. And then we come here and let's get the ink brush. And let's just kind of form this out a little bit. See what we get. All right, so we do that. We do that. Where's the mountain side? Let's turn that off. Turn that off. Take the mountain out where it doesn't need to be. Just so we're starting to actually see that. What is that line? Oh, that's the sun rays. All right, so we take a little this out. We take a little this out. This out. That out. That out. Right. So there's the mountain. There's the wood. Or the trees, I mean. Those would be really dark. I'm just trying to figure out how the base layers are going to look. How are the base layers going to look on this thing? God, I really have to think about how I'm going to do this because okay, hold on. Let me think about this. I have to really consider this now. I think I almost have to... God, I think I just have to draw it out in pen. I think I have to draw this out in pen. Okay, let me think about this. I really have to consider how this is going to work. As a painting, I really have to think about how this is going to work. Let me do a top layer here, and we'll just do this. So actually, this should all be in silhouette, really. If I'm doing this the way it's going to be done on the canvas, this is all blacked out. This is all silhouette. You wouldn't see any of this because the sun is behind this castle, and all the images, the castle is more or less blacked out. Not totally, but a lot of it, like this whole bit here, would all be blacked out. Should be just doing what do you call it? Layer assist on this, or drawing assist, because no reason not to do this. There's no reason to do this twice. This would all be blacked out. Right? This would all be blacked out. This back here, this here, this part. And then what I can start to do, and I would do this again with the pen, so this is going to be a lot of pen work. Interesting. This will probably be the most pen work I do on a painting yet. Well, I guess not. With the branches on the other one, maybe that's not correct. Maybe this would actually not be the most pen work. Let's just see here. But this would all be silhouetted, right? And the silhouette would come down to... Oh, that's silhouetted. Yeah, that's silhouetted. And then this would be the end of the pure black, right? And then the thing is, it would also be black underneath, but I would start putting accent lines on it. So actually, this would be blacked out. Hold on. This is blacked out, basically. This would be blacked out. This back, what do they call it? Rampart, turret, whatever. This would be blacked out. Again, this is all acrylic now. There's no oil yet. This is just the acrylic layers, or layer, I should say. So this would all be blacked out, right? Because then the trees would go over that. I would probably black out this whole area down here. Yeah, why not? So if we take the paint thing, and we would just black this all out. I don't know quite how I would do that. I'd have to figure that out, but that's okay. So this all blacks out to where these things are. So black all this out. This, and when I say black out, I mean pure black acrylic paint. Just plain acrylic. Sorry, plain black. In pure acrylic is what I was trying to get to say. This all gets blacked. And then what I would need to do probably is try to figure out a method. Yeah, so those parts will be blacked out, right? That's blacked out, basically. Okay, so that would be blacked out. And then I would need to do... I would need to do highlights on these other parts. So essentially, this would still be blacked out, except there would be kind of these highlight bits that would... Was that not? Oh, it was. Okay. So it's still blacked out, like you can see here. But this top layer would be some kind of color or tone. So it would start to be more like there's just like parts of it are blacked out, as opposed to pure black like the background, if that makes sense. God, I really have to consider how this would even work. Now, it wouldn't look like that because the sun would have to be on this side, so it would come down like this. This side would be blacked out because the sun's on, for that one, it's on the left side. See, and I can't mirror these because the sun, the actual highlighting is going to be different on the sides. So that would be blacked out there, right? And then, God, this is interesting. It would be pretty much the same here. There would be like that, because the light on this one's basically right above it. So that there is fine. Here again, this would have to have a more severe kind of highlight angle. This would be a little bit more softened. This would be kind of, well, with that, it would be kind of almost like that maybe. And then more present on this side coming down because the sun is there. See, and this is where I would have to have some kind of acrylic layer underneath with a color of some kind, like a dark orange or even like a, I don't know, a red or something. This is going to be very tricky to do now that I think about it, because there's the sun would be shining, because you want, basically what I want is like a harsh reflection there. Yep, so that would come up here. So you still have a lot of silhouette, and a lot of the castle would be blacked out, but you would have these little kind of, no, I guess if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to do that on the other one too. These little areas, which eraser is that? These little areas where you would see kind of the sun cutting through, or, you know, creating highlight on it. So I guess if that's a dark window, the sun would be like this, illuminating that window there. It would have something like that and like that. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to try and think of how this will work. So something like that. Let's see a little bit of highlight there. That. And this would be quite a bit. So you see a lot of that one on the top anyway. This one would be more like that because it's angled. This might even be blocked by the tower, so there might be not much at all there. But you see what I'm kind of getting at here, where there's these areas of lightness where the sun is reaching that break through all that. And then like that, something like that. That's interesting. It's interesting because I don't usually do this much kind of detail work in a painting, and I really don't know how it's going to work. I really don't. Like here, this would all just be black. I don't think you'd even get any sun in these back areas here because they're just too hidden. Whereas this one, you might get something because there's some sun hitting that side, maybe. So something like that. Yeah, this would all be just dark. Because I don't think any sun's going to permeate into that area. Oops. Hold on. Try not to be so sloppy about it. This is interesting. I have no idea how this would work. Makes me wonder if I shouldn't just black the whole thing out and make it easier in that way, as opposed to trying to make this work. Because I just think this is going to be so hard to not look weird. Whereas if I just black the whole shape out, if I just black this castle out, right? You know, like this, except maybe the path. Maybe I'd leave the path open. But black, oh, not that. This gets blacked out. All this blacks out. Yep, okay. Except for maybe that path right there. But everything else, maybe. I don't know. Well, I don't like the path just being there now, so I'd have to get rid of that. So just like this. It's hard to figure out how this would work. Just because I don't do detail work with this stuff. I don't do a lot of heavy architect. Number one, I don't do a lot of architecture. Let's just start with I don't do a lot of architecture to begin with. So the architecture angle is a challenge right from the beginning. And also trying to do that like that just looks better to me. Just blacked out like a black castle. Oh man, I mean, I might be able to come in with a dark color and try to put in accent parts, but I just don't know if it's going to look any good. Whereas I know I can do a silhouette. Like I know I can do this. I can make this look good with the light. Obviously, you can't really tell here. It just looks like a bunch of blotches. But with the light shooting through it, I think it would look a lot better. So if this is silhouetted and all you see is the sunbeams coming over it, it might not be as bad. Whereas if I try to three-dimensional this thing, I don't think it's going to work. Whereas that with like the trees, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to work either. Oh, maybe this is not a good idea to try. I don't know if this is going to look good at all. I really don't. Sorry, I'm just thinking here. Man, I might have to think about this. Or maybe the problem now is that this castle is too big. So if I put that down, that's fine. Put that up. What's this? That goes down. Merge down. Merge down. Hold on. Merge down. What's this? If I put that, actually, I don't put it further down. If I made this smaller, well, whatever that is doesn't even matter. Where is that? Oh, okay. This can go away. That's not going to be anything. I'm just thinking about this. I'm trying to figure out how this can work. I just don't think doing it the way I was trying to initially is going to work. But if I do it like that, because I'm looking at an image where it's a lot smaller on the screen, but there's more of that harsh silhouette because it's further away. If it's further off, then the silhouette idea becomes easier, and I don't need this stuff on the bottom either. Where is that? This. All this can go. Erase all this, and just use forestry to cover the rest of this. So just have more tree. Oh, sorry. Because I just don't know how I'm going to make that work. But if I just have forest coming down, and then some more forest coming up, and kind of cover that, then that castle being in the background is, and actually I'll move it up, because I think I want more of the points to be there. Something like that. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. That I can see it. I can see that. I mean, I still have to figure out how exactly this is going to be formed, but I can see that in terms of how it would be painted. It makes more sense like this than what I was trying initially. I just don't think that was ever going to work. Not really. I may have to do a small scale test of this on like a little canvas and see, because I'm still not sure whether this is going to work with my level of ability. Let's put it that way. Great painter could probably knock this out in no time, but I am not a great painter. Not for stuff like this. I mean, there's something there. I can kind of see it. I can kind of see it. I just have to work it out. This would be a multi-week thing. It would have to be. Because there's so much involved in this to make this work. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, the only way this makes sense now is if the sun is in fact right there. If the sun is rising behind the castle. Now that makes sense. If the sun is very bright here, this is the sun, and the light's radiating kind of through it and around it with those really heavy clouds, that makes sense to me. That I can see. And I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to make this work. I really do. I think that's the only way this is really going to work. And even so, it's going to be interesting to not have the sun. Maybe the sun can't be right behind it. Hold on. I think the sun can't be right behind it. I think the sun has to be, say, there. Because otherwise, it would just overpower everything. Or, you know what? Maybe we can go back the other way. I always kind of like putting the sun... Oh, I always put the sun off to the right. I'll put it to the left. Like that. That might work. That could work. Fascinating. Although every picture I'm looking at, the sun is to the right. I wonder if it should be to the right because all these images have it to the right. That might be something meaningful in the game. I don't know. Yeah, okay, let's just go with the right because the game shows it to the right a lot. Like that. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. I have to really kind of think this out. But I think I've taken it as far as I want to for this stream because I have to figure this out. I have to think this thing out on how this would work. I think it can work. I think I can make it work. I just have to figure it out. But I think it could work. If the mountains and the castle are black and the top is white, well, you know, I wish I had filmed how I did the other castle. I may just have to look at it and try to, because it would have had to have been black on the top. It would have had to have... Wait, how did I do that other one? I have to go look at that canvas. How did I do that other one? Wait a second. How did I do the dark crystal one? Because that's like black on black. So how did I ever make that work? I'm not asking, obviously I'm not asking you in the audience. I'm trying to, like in my own head, I got to look for that picture because I'm sitting here going, how did I make that castle work? Scrolling through all my... Oh, there's the picture that I just tanked. Completely wrecked it. No. Okay, here it is. No, that's black. That's black, and I did... Okay. That's a black canvas. It's absolutely a black canvas. This has to start as a black canvas. Okay. I can just looking at it, I can tell. Just looking at it, this was a black canvas. So this is going to have to be a blacked out canvas And I'm going to have to add all the color and then come in and add the castle. The castle will have to be virtually one of the last things added into this. Okay. Okay. I have an idea. I have an idea of how this might work. I mean, this could go completely south too, but I have an idea for it. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is this weekend, I'm going to have to paint a black canvas. Okay. So I'm going to a black acrylic canvas. And then transparent colors to create the basic color forms. Then I'm going to need to do another layer of acrylic with the pens. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And then I would have to then come back in with oils again. All right, hold on. Man. Acrylic base, black canvas, that dries quick. I do that on, say, if I do that on maybe Thursday, because it won't take long. I just have to paint it black. If I do the black paint on Thursday, that would be 2 days to dry is plenty of time. So that'd be 48 hours of drying time. And then I could go in and punch in the big colors, which would be mostly oranges and yellows to create the effect of what these images show. And that would really just be on the top cloud layers, which I might, in that case, I might lower this whole thing down. I might take all of this. Oh, no, I didn't want that grouped in there. Okay. I may take all of this and move this down like that so that it's further down on the canvas. And then the sun would still be there, but it would be lower. And then I could, come on. And in this way, I could do a lot more cloud cover. And I would do background. So I would have to do background, clouds, and the sun. Let it dry for 2 weeks. Then I would have to come in and do the trees and the castle. Yes. Trees and castle. Then I would have to, and that just dries within a day. Then another layer of oils, which would be the top sun part, the sun coming over the castle, as well as the mist over the trees. And I think that would, I could do the trees in oil when I do the background colors too. I could do that. The mountains would have to almost be done with pen, I think. Wow, this is going to be really interesting to try to make this work. Because this is going to be like, this is probably going to be a month or a month and a half's worth of work. But you know what? I think I'm going to try it. Because it's an interesting idea to do these alternating layers. Because I don't think I've gone back to oil. I've done acrylic to oil. But I don't think I've done acrylic to oil to acrylic. Sorry. Acrylic to oil to acrylic again to oil again. I don't think I've done it I don't think I've done 2 sets of back and forths. That would be interesting because you really have to let the oil especially has to dry. Acrylic dries quick. I mean, it's really 48 hours and acrylic's ready to go. Wow. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm going to bring this stream to a close. This is an interesting challenge. I'm going to try this. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a shot, and we'll see what it does. So let's, there we go. Let me bring this up. Wow, interesting. Oh, I almost took my mic off. Whoops. That's interesting. Yeah, I just got to think about this. It's fascinating to try that, but I think it can be done. I do think it can be done. So I'm going to give it a shot. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to give it a shot. Anyway, this was an interesting stream because I had one idea in my head of how this was going to work. And I now have a completely different idea of how it might work. but it's interesting me. You know, it's keeping me. I mean, I literally have like 4 paintings going. So even if this one doesn't work out, I have plenty of stuff. In fact, what was the other one? I have to do another one where I have to. What did I just do? I just did. Oh, the sunset one. I have to finish that one but that's going to be another at least week because the oil has to dry. Yeah, it's fascinating. I got to do the Hellraiser one, which I really got to jump on. Wow. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Well, you know what? That's good. That's good. It's good to have challenges like this. So this was interesting. Interesting. I'm curious if this is going to work. It may not. It may be that I'm just not a good enough painter to make this happen, but I'm going to attempt it. And I think it's worthwhile to at least try it. And if it fails, the only bad part about a painting that fails is you just waste paint, which I don't like to do. But at the same time, you have to take risks here and there. That's the exciting part. You have to try things. So I can't let that stop me. I do have plenty of paint, so I won't be wasting a lot of it. Yeah, I'll try it. On that note, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and bring this stream to a close because I'm interested. I actually talked a lot at the end of this, almost to kind of memorize how I'm going to do this so I can revisit this and be like, all right, what was my plan? Oh, got it. Okay. And see how it goes. But yeah, fascinating. Anyway, okay. So thanks for hanging out as I kind of fumbled my way through what I'm planning to maybe do here. And I'll finish this stream, as I always do, by encouraging you to find a creator that you enjoy and do something to support that creator. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about a lot of other people who really try to make a living at being creators. I don't make my living that way, and that's why I'm saying you don't have to worry about me, because I'm getting my money from a day job. I am well aware of my limits, and I don't think there will ever be a day where I make my money from my art. I have accepted that. It's not a big deal to me anymore. But there are people who are trying to make a living and purely through their art. And so I would encourage you, if there's somebody like that you know of, that you follow, whose work you enjoy, do something to support them. Help them out. It is a very difficult thing to try to make a living being a creator. It has always, well, I shouldn't say always. There were times back in the Renaissance and that where there were these rich patrons that would back people. That's all gone now. So it wasn't always like this. There was a greater appreciation of artistry and supporting art at one time, but that has long since been gone. But we have these ways now, unlike, say, when I was younger, there are all these avenues to support people. Patreon, Ko-fi, Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, all these donation angles that did not exist when I was younger. So ironically, there's more ways to support people now than there ever were. So in whatever way you can, support somebody that you enjoy. And that doesn't have to be monetary. It can be resharing their work. It can be following them on whatever channel they or platform they're on. It can be just dropping them a note. I was just earlier, I was reading about this. There's an artist who is a cancer survivor, and she and her husband, they've just been kind of like, every month has been a nail biter as far as will they make rent, that type of thing. But they're determined to make their living being artists. They want that to be their lives. And it's terrible to see how close they come often to not being able to pay bills. So, some of the things that they were talking about was just having people say, we're pulling for you, is a big help to them. So those are the things you can do. It does not have to be monetary. That's great if you can do it. Obviously, that's great. I don't know many creators who would say, no, don't give me any money. But it doesn't have to be that. If there's another method that makes more sense for you, or if it's just a matter of reaching out and supporting that person by saying you enjoy their work, that's worth doing. It's not a worthless thing to just send a message to somebody saying, I'm not in a position to support you with any money right now, but I want you to know I really enjoy your work and it means a lot to me. That people understand that not everybody has money to do that stuff. So that stuff matters. You should still do it. Anyway, bottom line is, if there's a creator who you enjoy, support that person, because you never know how close that person might be to not being able to create anymore. It happens. We just, and for different reasons. One of the legendary comic book artist Sal Buscema, I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, Buscema, just died. I think he was 89 years old. Responsible for some of the most formative comics I read when I was younger. Most people probably know his work, even if you don't know his name. So there's lots of things that you just sit there and go, oh yeah, no more output from this person. I'm not saying it's going to be death. I'm not saying it's always that. It's definitely not. But it could be that person's like, you know what? I can't do this stuff anymore. I have to get a day job. I have to pay my bills. And they don't have the time to create. That happens. There's a couple people I know who haven't been able to create stuff like they used to because they're just too busy with the work that keeps them fed and housed. That's a reality. But I know that they enjoy hearing from people saying, hey, whenever you can get back to it, we're waiting for you. That's helpful. So whatever you can do, take that time to do it. It's just so worth it. Doesn't have to take a lot of your day. Might just take 5 minutes. But take that 5 minutes because that 5 minutes is going to matter. On that note, everybody, I'm going to shut up now and say thanks for being here, whether you're watching live or later. Makes no difference to me. I just appreciate you coming by and hanging out. And support a creator you enjoy. And until the next stream, thanks for being here and take care.